Hello and welcome to FU Cancer at Mike's Journey. I'd like to thank subscribers, followers, people that have shared my Facebook page, which has turned 1.5 days old today, and I have over 100 followers. In the internet world, that's a pretty minuscule number, but in my world, that's a pretty big following. It shows me that there's a lot of people interested in the information that I have, the treatments that I am undergoing to fight this battle with cancer. There's been tremendous support from family, friends, and local community, and there's also been quite a number of people that have a lot of questions. So I thought the best way to answer these questions and to help people follow along if they want to is to create this Facebook page and give updates and information for the treatments that I'm undergoing and the day-to-day processes that I go through in my fight. I do have a lot of information that I want to share, and I hope that people will be able to get snippets of something good out of it. If somebody can share a little piece, or if it brings comfort to somebody, or answers a question that somebody might have, then I would feel that my efforts have been validated. Just to share what I know. I've been blessed that I've met a doctor that is incredibly knowledgeable and willing to share information and to teach it in a manner that is understandable to a person like myself, and I hopefully will be able to put that same information across in the same presentation that it was given to me, and it will be understandable to you. That it's important to understand and realize how cancer actually does work on a cell level, on a DNA level. And I've been given the opportunity to be taking the time to describe all these processes. So that's what I want to share. I do want to make sure that everyone listening and watching realize that this is my journey. Mike's journey is my journey. I'm not endorsing treatment. I'm not endorsing any methods. I'm certainly not here to promote any products or to make any financial gains. I'm simply here to spread the information that I have and share in my ups and downs, in my journey ahead with this battle. So today I want to give a history of myself, where I came from in cancer world, and where I ended up to today, and the road in between, and the choices that I'm facing. First and foremost, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a homeopath. My formal education ends at a college degree in construction electrician. Many years ago, my career has been spent as an electrician for the most part, which I've been quite proud of. However, I've accumulated a lot of informal education through my experiences with cancer over the past 8 years, and these are the things that I want to share. My experiences and what I've gone through today. We'll start in 2009, because that's when my first personal introduction to cancer was made. It was on my 42nd birthday in 2009. I went to the doctors because I was having discomfort. I was constipated to the point where my groin area had hurt so much I had left a full cart of groceries in the middle of the grocery store. I had to leave. So I went to the doctors. For the first time I'd ever met this doctor. I've been to the doctor twice before in 20 years. Once was for a broken rib, which nobody can do anything about that. And the second time was for an infection that 3 days of antibiotics and the infection was gone. I never went back. It was a done deal. So my point being that my experience with hospitals and doctors and the medical system were pretty minimal. So anyways, back to my story. On a Friday afternoon, 4:30, I get in to see my family doctor that I'd never met. He does a quick examination, a 45-second examination, and says, you have rectal cancer and possibly colorectal cancer. You need to see a specialist. And that was pretty much the end of the conversation. It was very blunt, very very surreal, and very life-changing. I went in, I was dreading going to the doctor because I thought I was going to get a suppository, and I came out with cancer. So you can imagine what that's like. My wife and I had the weekend to ponder this and let this soak in. Things that were not really important right now became important, and things that were really important all of a sudden really don't matter. Of course, by nature, we Googled the heck out of cancer and colon cancer, and she found all the positive outcomes and I found all the negative outcomes. So we didn't sleep, and it was a stressful weekend, but it really didn't matter because come Monday morning, the phone started ringing. By 10 o'clock in the morning, we were in doctor's offices and getting testing done and procedures done. And for 2.5 weeks, every day, we spent running from doctor's appointment to medical facility for various tests and treatments. We were literally rats in a maze looking for the next door to get to on time. And when getting into that door, I was literally a lab rat on a table, being violated, poked and prodded in every way imaginable. So it was a very quick pace. Following all the testing, it was the third weekend. We got a call to come meet a doctor, a team, which my wife and I did. We went down and we were introduced to a surgeon, chemotherapy oncologist, as well as a radiation oncologist. They presented their therapy, their treatment plan for me, which was 25 rounds of radiation with chemotherapy, followed by surgery to remove the tumor, and then followed by, I think it was 8 or 10 rounds of chemotherapy of a different nature to get any free radical cells that were floating around the body. It was intended to kill off those cells to prevent the cancer from coming back. So, knowing nothing, I put all my faith in the hands of these three doctors, and I mean, I don't regret it because they did an amazing job. The first radiation rounds, 25 rounds, went fairly smooth. The last couple of weeks was a little bit rough, but the chemotherapy was a bit difficult because never being sick before, and now I'm taking pills to make myself sick, was kind of a weird concept to me, and I found it difficult to manage through, but it wasn't nearly as difficult as things were going to get in the near future. However, we survived that whole treatment program of radiation. At the end of the radiation, the good news was that the tumor that I had in my colon went from the size of an orange down to the size of a golf ball. Yeah, that's right, you heard me right. It went from the size of an orange down to a golf ball. Very effective treatment. This did exactly what it was supposed to do. This made the surgery obviously a lot easier because now you're going after a much smaller mass than what was there originally. So once the radiation healed, the radiation burns healed, I went in for the removal of this tumor. When the surgeon got in there, there was a little more damage than what was expected. So they took out what's called margins. So they take the tumor out, and then they take the flesh area or whatever area around where the tumor is to make sure that if there's cancer that's kind of lingered or worked its way into this surrounding area, they've removed all that too. So they took out 12 feet of large intestine in the end, and the rectum. At the end of that, I came out with a colostomy, so I have a bag, an intestine coming out my stomach, and a bag to catch the debris, and that wasn't really that big of a surprise for me. It was very easy to accept and get used to. I really have no ill effects of that. I'm quite thankful, in fact, that it saved my life. Plus, unless I tell people, like I'm telling you right now, the average person would never know that it even existed. So that part was very easy. The treatment following surgery, or the recovery from surgery, was 5FU radiation. So anyone that knows somebody that's gone through 5FU, or has a loved one that's gone through 5FU, or have gone through it yourself, know how nasty of a chemotherapy that is. I can only describe it as being brought to death's doorstep and looking over the edge, and then slowly over the course of 3 days being allowed to back away from it. With that, you get 11 days of recovery, and then you go do it again. And this goes on month after month after month. It's a very difficult ordeal. It's kind of a block of time in my life that I've removed. I don't think of it. It's just one of those things that you just don't want to remember. But for people surrounding you, it's quite traumatic for them as well to watch somebody go through that torture. However, the effects of the 5FU seem to work, because when that was done, within 3 or 4 months after the effects of that wore off, I felt really good. I was getting my energy back. I was being able to move around, and life was beginning to be normal again, with the exception of my outlook in life, which was not normal. It was quite a bit more relaxed, take time to enjoy and really take in things, knowing now that life doesn't go on forever. You need to enjoy the precious moments that you kind of neglect prior to having an event like this. But really, for the most part, for the next number of years, I mean, I was as normal as normal can be. I didn't really have any effects. My doctor's appointments for follow-up got further and further apart, because really I didn't have anything to tell them. I'd go to the doctors and, you know what, I feel fine, everything's great, love and life, things are good. So really, there was no need for me to waste these guys' time anymore. So that started to change in the late summer, early fall of 2015, when I started getting some discomfort in my hip, knowing that this could be something serious, so I should get looked at soon. I went to the doctors right away. The discomfort was pretty intermittent. It would come for a day and then be gone for a week, and then come for a couple of days. But I didn't know if it's nerve. But if you have cancer once, it's always in the back of your mind. Is this the second shoe falling? Is this it? So you kind of don't take chances. The doctors suggested more testing to be done. So with the results of those tests coming back in the early winter of 2016, it was revealed to me that the cancer had returned, or that it was possibly a new cancer, and it was in the bone. The problem with being bone cancer was, where did it come from? So doctors spent a lot of time and a lot of trouble trying to sort out where this bone cancer came from, if it was a new cancer or if it was actually a metastasis from colon cancer. There's 2 different treatment methods to decide, but you have to know which one you're going after. So through a lot of testing and a lot of poking and prodding again, it was confirmed that this was actually a metastasis from colon cancer to bone cancer, which is highly unusual, because colon cancer, it goes to colon, liver, lungs, or colon, lungs, liver. It doesn't go to the bone. That's not a very common place for it to end up. However, in my case, that's where it ended up. The plan forward from that was, after a lot of discussion and a lot of detailed conversation, we're going to blast it again with radiation, and we're going to give you the oral chemotherapy, and we think that should work. And then we'll follow up with the 5FU following all that, and you should be good to go. So again, I didn't really have much of a choice, so okay, well, let's do it then. Those treatments ended late October of 2017. You have to wait a bit in between after the treatments to actually go do tests again. Otherwise, you get false positives. So I did my waiting, and by early January of 2017, it was revealed that the chemo and the radiation had no effect on killing the cancer. That's not to say that it didn't prevent the cancer from growing. That's just to say that the size of the tumor was the exact same size going in as it was coming out of the treatments. So that left to the next path, which would be to see a surgeon and see about removing this piece of bone. Talking to the surgeon, he was very uncomfortable about going in and attempting to take this bone out. He was willing to do it, but he did explain the risks. The risks are high because it's kind of a caged-in area of your pelvic region, protecting a lot of vital organs, and also the pathway for your nervous system to get down into your legs. So there's a lot of potential to do damage just getting to the bone. Never mind when you get there, opening up the bone, you're going to potentially and quite probably spread cancer around throughout the body again, just by disrupting the bone material. So the bottom line is that option was taken off the table. That we're not going to go down that path. And again, this is, at this time, I was fortunate enough, and timing is crazy, but at that time, I was told about a doctor outside of the country that he was educated in North America, a smart guy, fellowships at 3 world-known hospitals, but he had a different approach to treating cancer. And although he's a licensed oncologist in North America, he doesn't practice in North America, but he had a different approach. And it's not a homeopathic approach, and it's not an oncology approach. It's kind of a combination of a lot of different things, but the bottom line is it's to build back the immune system. So that's the treatment that I have been offered, and really that's the last line of defense that I have. People that are precancerous or worried about getting cancer, you've had cancer in your history, you might find it interesting that, this could actually have saved me before I got into the position that I'm into today. And quite probably, if I had the education of really monitoring what blood work meant, the blood work tells you so much information that if I'd understood how to interpret it differently than they do in North America, I might not be sitting here doing this video today. So that's my story, and that's my intention. I appreciate you hanging on till the end of this video, for those that have. I also appreciate you if you share this on. I'd like to get this information out to as many people as possible. My videos going forward will be a lot shorter, I promise. But I did have a lot to explain today in my introduction. So thank you again, and I will have another video posted tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. So I'm aiming for 7 o'clock in the evening to put videos out or information out on a daily basis. Monday to Friday. Maybe I'll take the weekends off. All right.